The story begins with a merchant named Bemis speaking to the people in the marketplace. He discusses how humans have used animals to plow the fields and help them with their chores. Despite using oxen, horses, and donkeys, those animals are completely stupid. He brings on stage some creatures that are named Thorophants. Humans did not know about their existence. These creatures are large, strong, and stealthy. On top of that, they can speak. Bemis asks a young one about his name and little Mosley speaks his name. Thorophants are strong and smart and can make the difference in executing heavy chores. Mosley returns next to his mother and sees her crying, because she knows that all of her kind will be sold to humans to work as slaves. Indeed, Mosley is sold and taken away. 25 years later, Mosley is grown up and has been accustomed to his new life. He wakes up early in the morning, spends little time with his family, and gets ready to go to work. His young son Rue is not aware of the hard life that Thorophants live. The only thing he knows is how to play around. Mosley and his human master named Simon start plowing the field. It is obvious that humans treat Thorophants as mere objects to be used for labor. In the meantime, Bemis the merchant and his two assistants approach near Simon's farm. Rue and his mother Barrett get the chance to meet with another slave Thorophant named Turpin. Turpin is an old male Thorophant that has worked for Bemis his whole life. Bemis is focused on how to make some profit for himself. He tries to convince Simon to sell Rue because that would make both of them some money. Also, he advises Simon to plow a field that he has abandoned. Mosley intervenes and lets them know the field is too rough and can't be plowed. But that infuriates Simon, who throws a rock at what he perceives to be his slave. Mosley and Barrett discuss their current situation, but they have no solutions at hand. Mosley needs to go to sleep because he will have to work again tomorrow. However, his young son will not leave him alone because he wants to show his father his new hiding place. Mosley really needs to rest as he is tired, but Barrett supports her son and tells Mosley he really has to see this place that Rue has discovered. Mosley follows his son. They are being guided by a number of fireflies. Soon, Rue falls inside a cave, and Mosley has no choice but to follow him. There, he sees some drawings on the walls. Images of Thorophants that walk upright and they have hands. At that moment, Mosley recalls old Turpin telling him a tale when he was still a kid. Supposedly, there are two families of Thorophants. One family is called the Uprights. They walk up straight and they have hands. They were forced to migrate to avoid being enslaved by the humans. As for their own kind, they were enslaved by the humans and forced into being their animals. That lead to their backs being bent and their bodies being adapted into becoming field workers. Upon returning back home, Rue falls asleep and Barrett is curious to pick Mosley's mind about the cave. The thing is, Mosley does not believe the legends because if the Uprights existed, they would have come to save them already. While speaking, they hear Bemis trying to convince Simon to sell Rue. That sale would make his life a little bit easier. Simon decides to wait until Barrett gives birth to her new baby, and then he will sell Rue. That makes Barrett worried and she pleads Mosley to do something about it. The next morning, Simon forces Mosley to work on the drained field. Mosley does the best he can, while Simon whips his back. However, the field is so rocky that it can't be plowed. Mosley pulls so hard that the chain holding the plow on his body gets broken. While Simon blames Bemis for his ideas, Mosley gets up and has a talk with his son. He asks Rue to take his place until he gets back, because he is going to find the Uprights and free his family. Mosley runs inside the forest. The humans run after him, but they are not able to find him. Angry, Simon locks Barrett and Rue in the barn. Bemis believes he has a person that will be able to find Mosley and bring him back. That man is Warfield, a ferocious hunter that specializes in capturing Thorophants. Little Rue escapes the barn in order to stop Warfield, but Turpin holds him back and tells the young one that he has to do what his father asked of him until Mosley returns. Bemis sends his assistants after Warfield so they can share Mosley's reward when he is found. Meanwhile, Mosley has discovered to his disappointment that the cave has been nothing than a trap. The legends are probably not real at all. Mosley tries to climb out of the trap, but he can't. Thankfully, Warfield captures one of Bemis' assistants and throws him inside the trap. Mosley uses him as a stair and jumps off him to get out of the trap. Warfield is after him while Mosley runs to the back side of a mountain. To escape, Mosley has to jump across a gap. Since he has no other choice, he makes the jump but can't hold on the other end, so he ends up falling inside the waterfall. Warfield looks around for him, but he is not able to find him. Mosley wakes up in an unknown room. The room seems empty, but at the same time not empty at all. He looks around while a figure seems to be stalking him. Has Warfield caught up with him? Is he going back to becoming a slave again? Soon, an upright approaches Mosley from behind, and then two more of them appear. They are as friendly as it gets. One of them is Gale Lynn. He is the oldest upright there is left. His old age has blessed him with a magic power and he is able to see visions. In fact, one of those visions made them come back here to this place. As for the other two, they are Warnie and Deaver, two brother uprights. Mosley explains that his people are not like them. Their backs are bent and they have no hands and fingers. Additionally, they are being used by humans as farm animals. However, Mosley believes that the uprights will manage to help them with their army. Deaver is worried about Mosley's expectations, but his brother Warnie keeps him silent and tells Mosley that they might be able to help him. The group departs and gets started on a journey to visit the place where the uprights live. Deaver explains that the best part of having hands is the fingers. He then starts explaining what is the role of each finger and how they all work together to create wonders. Meanwhile, Warfield has not given up and he is still trying to track Mosley down. Next, the group arrives in front of the Great Orchid. The city of the uprights stands at the other end of that forest, but they have to walk around it. This forest is magical, and it is being guarded by an aggressive spirit. It is said that this is the place where the world started. Contrary to what Mosley believes, this forest is responsible for the Thorophants of his kind having bent backs. A curse started from the Great Orchid and made the Thorophants the way they are today. Mosley sees an opening under the forest and believes that they can make their way to the city if they follow this path. Warnie studies his map and tries to speculate if they can really follow this path. The group gives it a chance. They start walking inside the forest. However, it soon starts raining trees. They have to get back out of the Great Orchid. A giant tree almost kills the group. Deaver and Warnie funnily fight with each other as they should have never entered the Great Orchid. Back home, Rue is trying to fill his father's shoes, and he is doing the chores around the farm. Or at least he is trying to do them. Later that night, he sits down with Turpin. The old man tells him about the legends he used to tell Mosley as well. Turpin dreams of a day when the uprights will come to help them and set them free. Near the forest, the group is having a nap, but Gale Lynn wakes up in the middle of the night and follows some fireflies. Mosley sees him and wakes up the others. They run to Gale Lynn and try to keep him from jumping down a cliff to follow the fireflies. At the same time, Warfield is catching up with them, so they need to find a way to escape. Mosley understands Gale Lynn knows something more compared to them and follows him to the cliff. Fireflies form under their legs and elevate them in the air. Deaver and Warnie follow them. The group is taken away from danger. Soon, the group makes it to the city and Mosley is excited. He runs through the streets but realizes something weird. There are no young people around. He can only see old uprights that are having a hard time standing on their own. Warnie reveals that uprights have stopped reproducing since a while, and they have no young citizens. Of course, they have no army and they can't fight. Warnie and Deaver are the youngest among them, and they are around 100 years old. Mosley feels let down. He wants to return back to his family because his son is going to be sold, but Warnie asks him to stay one more day with them to meet with their queen. Back in the farm, arrangements are being made for Rue to be sold. Turpin is also being taken away. Rue approaches him to ask him if the legends are real. In a moment of truthfulness, Turpin responds he has no idea if the legends are true. Mostly, those legends are based on the hopes on the Thorophants to live free. At the same time, Mosley meets with the Uprights' queen, and he narrates what has happened to the Thorophants. The Uprights are disturbed and they are willing to fight, but they have no real strength left. A citizen runs in the castle and notifies everybody that the hunter is standing outside their gates. The Uprights wait for him, and Warnie tells him he will not pass. However, Warfield shoots his arrow and hits Gale Lynn. The old upright is taken back inside the castle and he is about to leave this earth. Moments before he dies, he tells Mosley to follow the fireflies. Enough is enough for Mosley and he wants to face Warfield one-on-one. Before he does that, the queen tells him he should get inside the Great Orchid and find the brightest tree. The legend has it that if a Thorophant eats a fruit of that tree, their curse will be reversed and they will be able to walk upright. But that is not going to be easy because the tree is being guarded by a vengeful spirit. Mosley starts the action and he lures Warfield inside the forest. The two of them fight and Mosley manages to push him back. Warfield has a rope around Mosley's neck, but the latter beats him down to the ground. Mosley sees the tree and the fruit he needs to eat in order to transform. He runs towards them, but Warfield hits him with an arrow. Mosley gets hurt. Unable to walk, Warfield stands on top of him and is about to finish him. But then, the spirit appears with a giant sword and stops Warfield. The spirit takes Mosley away and leaves Warfield trapped inside the eternal forest forever. Mosley is carried in the castle by the spirit. The spirit consists of fireflies. Mosley remembers how the fireflies guided him all across his adventures. The spirit offers Mosley a fruit from the magic tree while all the uprights watch them. Back in the farm, Bera works the fields and she is sad because she has given birth to her youngest daughter, which means that Rue is going to be sold. While Rue is being taken away, Bera sees Mosley approaching. He is tall and walks on 2 feet. Mosley is here to take his family away, but Simon attacks him. Despite, the human is powerless against upright Mosley. He is lifted up in the air like a toy. Mosley reunites with his family, and he also meets their youngest member, his daughter. All the family members eat from the fruits and they become uprights. Mosley shows his son the unexpected pleasure of scratching his back, and then takes his family to a new life of freedom.